And all right, welcome back, guys. So we're going to talk about a TACAN approach here. We're absolutely going to get into AOA when we do this. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and set up. If you remember, our course heading is going to be 308. So let's go ahead and set a course of 308. Now, let's talk about magnetic variation. Because I believe if we were to actually look at the runway heading here, it would be 308, but with magnetic, but magnetic variation is 306. So that's actually what we want to set up on. So let's go ahead and reset this. Now, there we go. All right, so we're going to go ahead and start slowing down. I'm going to take auto throttle control off. And you see we're at 3,500. Nice flat level turn here because we always try to do flat level turns unless we're meaning to descend. We're already on El Dafra Tower. And you see just that little bit of movement in the stick that I'm doing just to maintain that flat level turn. We're going to go ahead and go intercept this course line. What we want to do is be at 3,000 feet at 10 miles. And we're going to use this is very similar to a straight-in approach. The straight-in approach, I might set a waypoint on the airfield. But all we're going to do, and we're going to continue to descend down to 3,000 radar. So don't forget we have an offset on the runway. So we're going to have to make a left-hand turn at some point here to kind of get back onto the runway. We actually are probably going to come in on the right runway because that is the one that's closest to the TACAN, okay? So TACAN, you want to be on the runway closest. We're coming down. We're starting to level out. I'm going to set auto throttle control at 250 because that's the speed that we're going to be at. We're at our 3,000, so we're good to go there. So this is the same procedure that you were taught in the basic flight. We're going to do 3,000 feet, 5-degree nose down. At 6 miles, go dirty. That's gear down, flaps down. Get into AOA, and then continue our descent. The only difference is we're going to make sure that we're using that velocity vector to maintain our exact 3-degree as much as possible. I'm going to go ahead and make sure that hook bypass is set to field, anti-skid is on, lights are on. Let's just double check lights are on. I'll go ahead and turn my landing lights on even though I don't need them. I just should be a good habit to get into, and I'm going to push my HSI to 5 miles so I have the best line there. Now you notice I do have the HSI up on the left-hand DDI, and it's still down here, but my goal is simply to make sure that I can quickly reference it. So we're just going to use our HUD here. You can go over and switch to the ADI if you really needed to. Here you go. Just to kind of show you exactly what you're doing. And on the ADI, you can see right now I'm doing -70 descent rate. So let's just level that out. All right, so we're 13 miles, and looks like we're going to intercept and be right on course line pretty easily. That's going to be really helpful. We do not, in the Hornet, have a ILS. So in bad weather, we have to do this this kind of visual landing with using the coming right, using the TACAN. And we're just going to intercept that course line there. Try to put it as centered as we can. Approaching 10 miles. There we go. And you can see we're actually pretty set up for a landing right there on that right runway. And Pat, we're at 11 miles. Now remember, you're a mile past here. So now we're going to go ahead and start dropping our throttle down just a little. Auto throttle control is off. We're at that 3 degrees nose down. So I'm going to, at 7 miles, go ahead and do this. You see that for this TACAN approach, we'll be pretty set at that 3-degree nose down, right on the TACAN, pretty close on the TACAN. Just a little bit to go over. not passing or succeeding 250 knots. We're just going to do a nice smooth approach. And since we're kind of already on that course, I'll just come to the right a little bit. Passing 7 miles, and since we're a mile out from the airfield at this point, for the TACAN, I'm going to put speed brake out, throttle down. I'm below 250, so gear is coming down. Flaps are coming down. And now you can see I'm putting some back pressure on the stick. I'm just letting it settle. I'm not worried about AOA just yet. I'm worried about that 3 degree. I'm just going to let it continue to settle. As we slow down, more back pressure. I'm going to start my trim, start working my throttle. Get us into a good AOA at that 3 degree. Go one more on the trim up. Maybe one more. There we go. Now you can see that throttle in the controls, just barely moving. Just working it. You can see that to maintain my vertical, I'm not using the stick at all. I'm using the throttle, and you can see nice and steady and easy. Just, you're feeling the jet, you're listening to the engines, just like a refuel. Alpha Tower, Viking 1-1, 4 miles final, 3-1 right. Making those call outs. I want to kind of come to the right just a little because I want to get into the center line. You can see that we have 7,000 pounds of fuel. We have no loadout on, so we're nice and light for this. Now at this point, once you gain visual on the airfield, you can absolutely, if you need to readjust, if you got a little higher or low, you can absolutely make those adjustments, but never go below 5 degrees down when coming in on AOA landing. I want to come just to the right a little bit and just start working on a little bit of a better lineup here, because we're going to be offset just a little. There we go. I'm kind of aiming that velocity vector on the numbers. We're almost right there at 3 degrees still. And we're just going to keep coming down, just going to keep coming down. I still have my speed brake out. You can put it in, you can keep it out. It's not a big deal on that, unless you're really heavy. If you're heavy, you need to make sure that your speed brake is in. Otherwise, you're not going to be able to maintain the speed and the aerodynamics that you need. If your speed brake is in, you need to pull it out when you land. Getting a little bit of turbulence. Just maintaining it. We're going to come right down here, just past the numbers. Speed brakes out. I'm going to put flaps up now. I'm applying brake. Not too much brake. I don't want to. There we go. Flaps are up. We'll go ahead and put speed brake in. Now, if I know the Hornet's nest is on the left, I might have to make a left-hand turn here, and that's fine. You can either exit on Delta 1 or on Mike. We're going to go ahead and exit Mike, and then you would taxi back to your normal airfield. We're just making sure that we're slow enough. Again, getting some lag here on the ground, and I'm not quite sure why. Oh, all right. And the center line is what we're looking for, and that's all you need to do for a TACAN approach. Our next approach is going to be a overhead brake, and we'll discuss that here in just a few.